The amount of information that you've given that AI is unbelievable. Like, it's quite, I don't know whether you're looking scared there.
But you're
Judie.
like,
I'm a little bit scared.
Apple has it anyway.
But no, I'm just thinking Jen is my first cyborg friend.
But Apple and Luke have it.
Who cares? Like, the other side of this is like, oh no, the AI knows like how much sleep I got last night. There's nothing in there that another human hasn't experienced somewhere along the way if it was to all come out.
Hey, I'm Jay Woodard. I am a creative director, photographer and videographer of the Ed32 agency based in the south of Ireland in Cork.
Hi, I'm Judy Russell. I'm a video coach and founder of the Vid Academy.
Hi, I'm Jen Bryan and I'm the co-founder and chief marketing officer of a digital marketing agency called Velocity Growth.
Hi, I'm Sian Horn. I'm a business mentor and coach. I'm also the founder of the National Network for Women in Business called The Club. And I also am the ambassador for Champion Green.
Hey everyone, welcome back to this week's episode. So this week we're going to be chatting all about the world of AI, which is a very exciting topic at the moment. But before we dive into that, we just want to touch base quickly on last week's episode where we talked, first of all, a lot about gimbals. And one of our fans reached out and gave us a lovely DM offering to give us some training around the topic of gimbals. I am sure, I have absolutely no doubt that there is a place for them in terms of video recording, video editing, like all of the movements that it can, cover. But what do you guys think? Is this something that you would pick up on, you would use? What do you think, Shan?
Well, it was funny because after last week's episode, I noticed that Judie did a little reel about a gimbal and the difference in the two pictures. And I was like, that's interesting because obviously us three have gone, and it's not that they're the worst thing to use. It's just the worst thing I've ever bought. But Judie, what different, I'll be honest, look, I am not the eye of the creator here. And so I kind of looked at the two different ones and I was a bit like, I don't really see much difference, to be honest. So what should I have seen, I suppose?
Well, do you know what? It was a side-by-side comparison where you're shooting landscape on top of each other for to show on Instagram. It's very hard to kind of see the difference. I suppose it's cinema where you'd be like, ugh, if it was a handheld shot, you'd be like, that's so gross. But like, even for YouTubes and stuff like that. But what I will say is that, and like, there's so many negative comments that came in like on different channels about gimbals. And I was like, wow, people are really upset by gimbals. And I think Keith Kennedy, who offered us a Gimbal Workshop, hit the nail on the head because there's training involved in using gimbals. And I think what happened was everyone went out and bought one because they became cheap. And then everyone was like, oh no, I don't know how to use it. But where I love using them for, say I go and make a corporate video and I make them for, say, Cork Chamber all the time. And I go out and I shoot shots of Cork City and make Cork City look lovely. Like the pans, the mechanical pans and tilts that are timed perfectly. So they start off slow, they get to a speed, they stay at that speed, and then they stop slow. I cannot get that on a cheap tripod. I would have to have an extremely expensive tripod and I'd have to do it 4 or 5 times. With the gimbal, it's just like super convenient, steady flow. But I'd be interested in your opinion, Jay, because you probably use them quite a bit, or do you?
I don't, to be honest. I love, like you said, handheld unless it's cinema. I was immediately thinking of the Bourne films where it was all handheld and jittery and action. That's what that's for. That's the style you use that for. But funny enough, I had a shoot during the week with a client, and it was a property tour, and we did it before. I had a style before, and like, yeah, we like it. We want to mix it up. Do you have a gimbal? I was like, yeah, I do. So now I have to learn how to use the gimbal properly. The one gimbal.
The universe.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it all came back to bite us in the ass. But I did a handheld one of the house, and it's good. It's a lovely video. But like a gimbal is going to make it a million times different. Like it's going to make it way more cinematic and smooth and stuff. So I am going to get back into it. I'm going to bring it here to Take 9 to get to the guys because I know Leah and Killian use them, and Lewis as well, and they're class with them.
So could we?
You know what I think?
Could we ring Keith?
Yeah,
please.
Yeah, for sure. You know what I think as well is I think they had like a burst of excitement from creators in the industry as well. Like I feel like there was a few months there where everyone was talking about using a gimbal. And that comes in ebbs and flows. Like I can see lots of people talk about these specific wireless mics and stuff now, especially with the Rode release and stuff. Are these products for absolutely everyone? Probably not. I probably would have had no use to purchase a gimbal because of the style of content I create. So sometimes it comes back to hype versus necessity too.
Speaking of your content, looking class. Camera looks great.
Really good.
Green screen work is great. Good stuff.
Oh, thanks. I have no idea what I'm doing, so that's lovely.
I was like, Jay and I were talking about this the other day because I went into him to do a voiceover, and I was like, I'm nearly sure that it's not green screen, that it's a cutout. And I'm so sorry. I've asked you what software you're using for editing 3,000 times and it's not sticking. It's not in video. What is it again?
I use a tool called Wondershare Filmora. It's probably the least heard of. Do you know, it's actually because the first day I started working in Click with Mark, he was like, just use Wondershare Filmora, we have a lifetime license. And I was like, perfect. And then I never switched since because that was just what I was told to use day dot. It's like a very stripped back version of all the other tools, but it has, click on green screen. You can see the blue side of my green screen here probably next to me.
You are using a green screen.
I am using a green screen. However, what I did notice is that like afterwards, when I did I batched all of my videos together, and then when I went in to start editing them, I was like, oh shit, I didn't realize that I had clipped the black part of the green screen in, and cropping it just brought my head slightly out of frame. So the next 14 videos just have that, and you're all going to have to take it or leave it. I got a ton of DMs being like, there's a little black bit in the corner. I was like, oh, fuck off.
Did you? You need people following you like me, Jen. I just wouldn't notice.
I don't think I'd notice either. I'd be like, this looks
didn't
great.
notice. I was just looking at the quality of the camera and stuff. And if you're shooting that at 30 frames per second, are you?
50 frames per section. 50 frames per second is the automatic on my new little camera. But I just exported from Filmora at HD 30 frames per second. I don't know how to change it. So 50 frames per second it is, Jay.
If you can, I would change it because it just makes it small more jittery. Like even if if you went to 24 frames per second, you'd have that more cinematic look. That kind of that cinema blur. But like everything we shoot, everything done for social is 30 frames per second, as you said. But it's just like realistically, if you're the way I shoot slow-mos, I shoot at 60 and I bring it to 30. So you're effectively doing the same thing a small bit. So just be careful that you don't, if you're looking at the image, it still looks great, but just if you can switch to 30 frames too.
This is a nifty little piece of kit. This Sony ZV1, the newer version of it. Is it Mark II or something they call it?
Does it have the swivel screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
so, like the only thing is that I keep having to remember to look at this instead of the screen, because you get away with it a bit more on a phone to look at yourself. But it's a great piece of kit. It's probably one of the better things I've bought because I'm about to launch into YouTube. I have like a backlog of stuff, and there's a whole lot going on there. So I do think this will be better for YouTube content than my phone for sure, because it's a little bit perfect. So let's dive into the world of AI. So I'll kick off with you, Judie, because I know you've gone down the rabbit hole of AI in the last few weeks. What has been your highlight in the last couple of weeks? Something that's just blowing you away in the AI space?
Honestly, I think at the moment, there are so many tools out there, and it's like bringing them all together, like ingredients, and then baking your own thing into whatever you want it to be. It's just, I actually can't get over it. But one of the things, I'll just open up because I have a whole browser now for AI that I just get lost in. But I was using Chat GPT, obviously, for idea generation and coming up with concepts and just as basically conversations back and forth with it. Then I was using Squibler for coming up with scripts. Not great, but still, what I have to remind myself all the time is that this is at the infancy and it's only going to improve. 11 Labs blew me away. I was able to clone my voice. It doesn't sound perfect, but here's a...
Do you just turn your mic off, Jude?
No, she's giving us...
We're not hearing anything.
Just there's no light on him. No, because I think have you turned your mic off?
No.
No, it's still on. But I was just pointing it at the computer speaker. Are you able to hear that? No.
Quite nice though.
Darn.
Quite nice.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
I wanted
It was
to
a nice
give you
for a
a
moment's
listen.
peace.
We'll cut that out. Then I was using Leonardo to create an image, and I'll just run through just some of the quick ones. What I was really impressed by was Beathoven.ai, where you can prompt it to create a song for you. Now, the songs are weird, right? And it's not great. But again, infancy. So like you type in the duration, the vibe, the genre, the instruments that you want in it, and it's just like creating something original.
That's how
Pika Labs.
The Beathoven is how Beyonce made a new song, isn't it? That terrible Western song she did.
Seriously? You're joking.
I'm joking.
Oh my God. I just so believed you.
I am finally starting to get a bit of cop on, because I would have thought 100% that you were
Brilliant.
Studio DID, I think, is brilliant for, like, you can put in a picture of yourself, and you can put in you can upload an audio file, an image of yourself, and it will make your mouth move to the audio file. But obviously my mouth moves in a certain way. The way that this moves my mouth, it's like a really weird version of me and stuff like that. But yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like someone's got their hand up me and they're making my mouth move.
Okay.
But that's only I'm going to regret saying that. I did not mean that.
Sorry. Have fun editing, Eva.
Here, leave that in, Eva. Leave that in.
I've already embarrassed myself enough.
11 minutes, Eva. There's the clip.
Leave it all in.
Does someone want to coach me in being better at this? But no, I just got to say, like, there's so many things out there. If you're not testing with it, start testing. Like, whatever your business does, like, just start Googling, how can AI improve my business? And just start like trialing out, because the prompting is where we need to get better at. We need to get better at describing to the AI what we need it to do. And that only gets better, I think, with practice.
Absolutely. What about you, Jay?
The main kind of ones that I use in my day-to-day, the one that kind of really blew me away was the Photoshop Generative Fill. Just unbelievable stuff for photography, and just being able to, even for video, that you can put your frame in. Then if like, let's say you need to remove a boom shot or something, it just fills that in, and you can layer that into your video edit and then crop it. Like, it's just insane how good that was. The ones I use day to day are kind of I use the Captions app, which I think is kind of a lot of AI in that. I use Chat GPT is a big one for script writing for me, just back and forth ideas. I think with prompts, I could be very wrong, but if you want any way to get a good enough scenario, I always kind of say, act as a PR or marketing specialist, act as a YouTube specialist, and then like that. And then I ask the question. It seems to work somewhat good. Like, you can tell me more, Jen, but I think that like even those small prompts help a lot, instead of just saying, what do I do with my YouTube? Like, that kind of idea. What other? I haven't played with Sora yet. Sora.ai. I'm kind of afraid of it, to be honest.
It's not out yet. You won't have a chance for. I think it's. Is it before the elections or something that they're going to release?
Yeah, which is smart.
Yeah,
they're not putting up. And then I have kind of the likes of Vid IQ and stuff for YouTube that suggest AI titles and descriptions and stuff, which is really handy and stuff. But I'm definitely not using it to the full extent I should be. So I'm kind of going to deep dive a small bit more into that. But yeah, I'm enjoying it at the moment. It's helping a lot.
Shan, what about you?
Can I also just...
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Judie.
Sorry, just for the Captions app, like I haven't even dove into it as much as I'd say you have, Jen. Like, the fact that like you can read a script off camera, like you don't have to be looking into the camera, and it will like reset your eyes to make them look like you're looking directly into the lens. And it will create AI generated titles, descriptions, and tags for your Instagram videos based on the transcript of what you've said. So like, I think Captions is really, really good. I'm glad you mentioned it.
Edit the video for you as well.
Yeah.
Zooms and outs and this kind of stuff.
Even when you make all your mistakes, like, you can dump it in there and you can click, okay, AI trim. It trims all the video down, and then where it can't figure out things. So say, for example, if I had to say a sentence twice because one of them fucked up, then it'll ask me which one was correct. So it'll kind of do like a yes, no, yes, no, yes, no through the trims, and then it'll just go from there. It's really good. Shan, what about you? Have you started leveraging AI in your business yet?
A very small bit, and most for me, no, this isn't my area, and most of what I've learned, I suppose, in the last 3 or 4 months has been from you guys. And actually, your prompts that you suggest all the time, Jen, have been a massive help. I do use chat definitely because it works. What I just thought I'd try for this episode was I was obviously like Googling what are the best 10 AI tools, and then I was going and saying, as an AI expert, to chat, saying, as an AI expert, would you suggest 5 of the best AI tools to a small business? So I was trying to like flip back between the two of them. And for me, I suppose the only tool that I've used for the last couple of years, which I couldn't live without, is Grammarly.
Yeah.
Because, and it's got better and better and better and better over time. I can't write for toffee. So without that, and often actually I say to people, oh my God, I could never get somebody to do my captions because people would know it wasn't me because my English is so bad. I'm not in the written word. So Grammarly is amazing. And one I played with this week was Pictory. And I didn't know where I found this. I thought maybe Jen or Judie had, but it's video creation. Now I've only played with it a little bit and I'm definitely going to dive a little bit deeper. Just for a small business, takes out the complications of royalty-free music, and you can obviously as well short clip things down. So those would be my sort of 2 that I'm definitely going to have a look. And captions, I started, guys, and I did dive into it, but again, I went back to using Instagram because all I do is rack my video into stories, caption it, and then rack it up as a reel.
Shan, did you buy the year subscription?
I think I did actually.
I hate the Instagram stories.
Yeah,
but it's for I use it for captions.
Shan, you don't have to explain your expense to us.
No, do you know what? It works for me. It works for me, and it's speedy, and but Aoife's been helping with me with my social. So Aoife, get into captions. I'll give you my login.
But you know what, Shan, you've hit the nail on the head there now, because I used to go around to businesses and teach them the same stuff over and over again. And what I'm realizing is the world is changing so much, and different AIs, captions for me is the final finesse on my videos, but you're uploading a lot more content than I am. So I'm going for 1 video a week, and then it has to be super time consuming put into it. But for people who want to produce more content, I'm ignore the Captions app. TikTok or CapCut, does a good job at auto captions. I know you use Instagram, but I'm do whatever works for you. And even creating covers, CapCut now can create a cover for you where you can put text on top. The way Jen does covers obviously is beautiful with Midjourney and stuff like that. But I'm I could tell the people I was training yesterday, they're never going to do that, but they will do the cover thing in CapCut. So I'm just stick with whatever works for your process and go
actually,
from there.
Funny enough, if there's any content creators that want to monetize, I spoke to a few agents last year, and the one comment that they said to me was, you must put a cover. And I heard it from a lot of social media managers and stuff. And they're you must put a pretty picture on your feed. But what I was doing was covering my content, but I wasn't telling people what was behind the cover. And as a business looking to work with somebody of influence or somebody that is creating content, I want it in bold. I want to see on that caption that she is working with or where she was. I put up a reel today and the cover is Manchester pinned. Do you know what I mean? Because people think the aesthetic of the feed is really important, but it's not actually. It's so people can find what they're looking for. And we made a huge mistake in the club because we did all of that. And then people were I missed last Friday's live and I wanted that content. They can't find it. So tell people what you're doing.
It's a sea of lost, yeah.
Absolutely. So tell people what you're selling, tell people what you're talking about so that they can just go straight to it. Covers are really important for me.
Would you consider CapCut templates AI?
Me?
Yes.
Everyone, anyone, sorry. Sorry, I'm talking out loud here, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's grand. I don't use CapCut.
Yeah. Judie?
I would, but I don't know why I would. I think it's because it's editing to the beat of the music, but then that's a model, and it's not generative AI, so it's just
Template.
like
Jen's
I
going to
don't know,
drop the
Jen.
mic
I'm
here.
interested in your.
No, I probably wouldn't, just because I have such a flow with my own system at the moment that if I change it up.
No, I'm saying, would you consider the templates as sorry, not to do it, but would you consider them as AI?
Oh, no,
yes.
machine learning.
Yeah, machine
learning. Yeah.
Machine learning. Yeah, it's different.
Okay.
Although a lot of, and I think this is an important distinction as well, that a lot of AI companies don't really clarify whether they are artificial intelligence or machine learning, and there's a distinct difference there. And actually, technically, Chat GPT and all of the large language models are still more or less categorized as machine learning rather than artificial intelligence. It's when it becomes the thing we're all afraid of, that it's truly artificial intelligence, I guess, where it can connect the dots and create something new. It's like, hey, based of all of these knowledge, and by connecting all of these 1,000 more dots that you humans would never have thought of, we now have the cure for X, or whatever the case might be. So there's like an extra layer there.
Do you know what I'm really scared about? So I noticed yesterday the marketing, Catherine from Kerry, her page got duplicated again. We're going to come to a point where they're going to be talking as her as well as nicking all her content.
Oh, completely. I had a call yesterday with a lawyer in the US, and I'll just put a small trigger warning here that it does relate to the abuse of children. But she is dealing with cases at the moment where people are stealing 14 to 16-year-old girls' Instagram photos and using all of these processes of voice cloning and video editing via AI to create OnlyFans content with them.
Oh my gosh.
Which is
actually for sick.
Is an absolute world unto its own. So it can be extremely scary what all of these tools can do in the same breath as all of this. But in terms of going back, and that is what is pissing me off about AI, but we'll roll into that in 2 seconds, because one thing that I wanted to say there about the prompting, I use what's called the ACDQ method. So act as a world-class specialist in X. Then C is always give it the context of what you want. D is the direction you're going to give it. So tell it what to do, the demand. And then Q is a question. So what I'll always put at the end of my prompt is, if this is not sufficient information for you to give me a comprehensive response, please ask me any relevant questions that are required for you to do so.
Beautiful.
Yes.
So that works quite well. And
the main Judie are writing like nutters.
My hand hurts.
ACDQ was my first video that went viral, if you scroll back. The big highlight for me with AI though this week really is HeyGen. I love their labs section. So if you go into HeyGen and you log in, even with a free account, on the bottom left hand corner there's a little button called Labs and a little kind of experimenty bottle thing next to it. And when you click into it, you can see all of the beta things that they're working on. So like those video translations where you put your I would obviously put it in English, it'll come back in Japanese, with my mouth moving as if I was speaking Japanese in my own voice and things like that. But they have a new one called the streaming avatar. And essentially you can upload your knowledge base like you would a custom GPT. And you can put in your own avatar and you can have it sitting on your site as a chatbot to like start talking to what looks like you. So that's a pretty cool tool. So
I'm
we'll
just
move
in there now looking at it. So cool.
Are you looking at it? Cool. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, it looks amazing. Yeah.
Their lab features are just unbelievable. Something to really keep an eye on. What is something that is pissing you off about AI, Judie?
I suppose there's two things. One of them is the pushback. Like every time I upload a video that has some kind of AI in it, I inevitably get like messages, and like I don't have your following, any of your following, but like there's always someone to crash on, rain on the parade and be like, this is shit. This is like, it's not you. It's taking the creation out of everything, which is stuff I totally disagree with. I think it's it's more aiding creation at the moment. But then another thing like that I came across a couple of years ago was the concept of the singularity, where like AI reaches a point where it becomes more intelligent than humans and starts to kind of dictate the future of the human experience. And I'm like, why don't we talk about that more? Like why? Like that is a genuine concern, and it's like I suppose people are talking about it more. But I often in pub settings, I'm like, what do you think about the singularity? They're like, huh? And I'm like, we should all know about this, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just have the wrong end of the stick here. Like
on that note, the assumption is always negative in that instance. But what if that was a positive? What if you woke up in the morning, there was a cup of tea sitting next to your bed, and you got up and your slippers were already warmed, and then you could go live your best life. You could go read, or you could go do whatever you want, or whatever made you happy, even if it was still to continue working or whatever the case might be, that it was just all just going swimmingly. Like there's so many different variations of that. It's, you know, it's an interesting one that I could dive into for hours, but we don't have hours.
Too, and I could talk about for days. What I will say though is that, like, you know, as soon as like AI at the moment is like our companion, anyone using it is like having fun and making their lives easier and all that kind of stuff. But then I think it gets to the stage then where expectations just increase. And you can't have a shitty written email, and you can't have a badly worded proposal. Your images have to look slick. And then it's like, oh, this thing that was supposed to help us is now hindering us. Like all of this technology that was supposed to make my life easier is in fact just adding more work over time. So
I think our standards will just inevitably change. Like someone who I would consider a bad marketer at the moment is now a good marketer with AI. Someone who's a good marketer is now a great marketer. Someone who's an excellent marketer is now a phenomenal marketer. Like it's just leveling everything up in one breath. But it'll be interesting to see how that position of good and bad kind of work output kind of changes over time. Jay, what's pissing you off about AI?
Yeah, I could touch on it there. I think one of the main things is what people like. There was a movie I saw recently, Argyle. It was just atrocious. It's in the cinemas. Henry Cavill. It's so bad, and I genuinely believe like AI wrote it. And I feel like this is going to become more, because remember the whole writer's strike and the whole thing that was happening, and like it's going to become a thing where you're going to like those B Hallmark movies. They're going to just start being written by AI. They're going to be that kind of stuff, and that's all well and good. But I just don't like that kind of stuff. I don't like that's. It's not to tell a proper story. I feel you need to be a human. There needs to be a human aspect to it and stuff, and that's what. Yeah, and then people taking full advantage, like the child porn and the scam calls, and like as you said there, like a good marketer, a good scammer is becoming a great scammer, a phenomenal scammer. I mean, it's so true. Like, and it's just the other side, flip side of the coin, and it's really starting to. It just pisses me off, but it's such a pity because like fucking humans are the best thing and the worst thing with this world. Like it's anyone that can take advantage of it will absolutely take advantage of it and just do the wrong thing with it. Like where we could be leaps and bounds ahead, but for me personally, I like AI. I think as it's only going to make things better for us in the long run, I hope. Like I can't remember the date. It was April 4th, 1997 when Skynet went live, if you remember, in Terminator, and the robots took over and set off the nukes. Like I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, the people taking absolute advantage. And you're seeing these coaches and like they've moved from Bitcoin to fucking AI to like just like this whole shit like that. It's again, people taking advantage is what pisses me off.
Bandwagoning, yeah,
for sure. Shan, what about you?
Jay, just remember episode 9, was it? They're not real coaches.
Hey, I love it.
But yeah, do you know what? I was just going to say absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Obviously, nasty people just piss me off generally. So that's always going to happen. But I think for small businesses, this could be, really change them. I think they're still scared of them. A lot of my clients that I'm trying to teach them small increments at a time, it's going to change their world. And I just think I'm all for it as long as it's safe. And that's my only fear with it, that no one presses the button.
There was those rumors for ages that there's loads of pictures of Sam Altman and he's always got a backpack on, and they were like, he's got some sort of button in the backpack.
But that's what it feels like, doesn't it? And that's what they're saying, and that's why that at some point someone will give too much because they'll want to be the first, and it does scare me. It does, that element does scare me. I mean, look, I saw a lady with a robot in Amsterdam in the airport. I was so excited. I was like, I want to see how that works. I want to take it apart like an Action Man I would have got when I was 6. I want to know everything about it. However, at the same time, I was like, how fucking weird is this shit? Like, she's holding the hand of a little tiny robot. It was just bizarre. But yeah, I'm all for it. I think, change is good, but change is good when you take it in both hands and run with it. You can't be scared by this because it's coming anyway.
Mic drop.
And like, I know this is kind of going a little bit off topic, but I think I'm less concerned about the human intervention. I'm more concerned that like an AI model will be like, how do we prevent climate change? By reducing the population. How do we do that? Let's get into the button and push it ourselves. So without any human intervention, AI or something else could decide the fate of humanity, which I also think is really exciting as well as terrifying.
Well, do you know what, okay, Judie? If I wasn't having enough problems sleeping at the moment, you've just really topped it. Oh, thanks for leaving me with that today.
Yeah.
I'm really positive deep down,
I think what was pissing me off for a long time around this, though, was the reluctance of businesses to make shapes with it, like just start using it. And actually, I'm starting to, anything that ever really pisses me off like that, sometimes I'll take a step back and be like, why am I so livid about this? And I'm actually, change is very slow. Like, I remember even when I was starting off my first few jobs and being like, why are they not using social media? Why do they have this website still from 1997 that is just like a brochure and it's like slim down the middle of the page with just text or this kind of, do you know what I mean? Like, I've always had these frustrations, and it's only because I'm so eager to kind of push into what I see is going to work. Like, I had never had this kind of interest or push for businesses, especially in NFTs and crypto and things like that. I felt like that was a bubble that was going to burst. I still think AI is bubbling, and there's going to be a burst here as well, because I've started creating a directory in like a massive spreadsheet. I have like about 2,000 different AI tools in there, and I have them categorized as like audio, video, image, whatever the section that they kind of categorize into. And I'm actually going to roll that out as a website over the next few weeks. So like, you'll be able to go to the site and you'll be able to just go, I want audio tools that do this. And my end goal is to actually have like a chatbot at the top where you can type in your problem and would you like a free, freemium or paid tool for this? And it kind of comes up. But that sheer volume has only come out in the last year. That's a significant volume that only I've scraped together. There must be at least 10 times more than that out in the ecosystem that are all built off the big companies. So like, they're all using OpenAI's large language model. They're all using, one core suite of tools. So if I was an investor putting money into these companies, I'd be going back to like, are they using their own proprietary models, or are they using a large language model that is just being ripped off? Because if OpenAI turned off everything, all their API access tomorrow, let's say, how many thousands of those businesses just drop off the face of the earth? They're so reliant on everything. So we'll see in time. But
it's like any business, really. So they're just leasing out the propriety of it and leasing out the software of it. Like, that's kind of like most businesses these days. They're leasing off something else, and then if that dropped, that business would drop in kind of a domino effect.
Yeah, and I think there's so much. Like, I put a newsletter out yesterday where I talked about the personal use of AI, where like it's benefited me in a non-business context. And actually, there's a huge amount of value. I mean, it does all of my diet and nutrition. It does all my health and fitness work. It does my financial management. It does everything for me from day to day. Yeah, I even have like the two things on each of my wrists, and they're both connected into AI. And like my heart rate variability has improved 9% month over month since I started using it. My sleep efficiency is above 98% consistently. It recommends the tiniest changes. Like I'll ask it, look, what can improve my heart rate based on the data you've seen over the last 30 days? It's like, stop eating after dark, or like, stop doing X, stop doing Y. All your stressors peak at 1 p.m. on a Wednesday. What are you doing all the time at that time? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll move that, or I'll stop doing that. It's really, really good. I'm about 4 or 5% ahead of my savings goals for the year because it's like tweaked around what I should be doing based on my bank statement.
And is that Chat GPT you doing all that through, like the financial stuff, or is there another software?
No, I'm using custom GPTs.
Son of a bitch, I have to build some. So
yeah.
I know.
If you want to do a working session someday, and I'll show you.
Well,
mine is custom
and
to
you
me.
just teach us how to do it.
I'm more than happy to do. We can pencil in an hour someday after one of these, and I'll show you what I do to build them out.
Class,
because they're super handy.
And Jen, are those both whoops you've got, or what are they on your wrists?
Apple Watch Series 7 and Whoop 4.0 on the right. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. No, I'm interested in the Whoop. Obviously, I'm I mean, same sort of thing, AI. So I've got my glucose monitor on, the Limbo one, and it tracks me throughout the day, and it does give me tips like that. You know, if I hadn't hit my target that I wanted to hit, it would give me the information and say, look, things like don't eat snacks after dark, leave 4 hours between this. When I have a hot bath, my sugar levels go through the roof. Which is really, really interesting because it's got nothing to do with food. I must have a lot. I always describe it as I must have sugar in my body, obviously cooking when I'm having a hot bath. But it's really interesting. I love those sort of stats. I'm looking at the Whoop. So
the Whoop is great because it comes with a built-in AI coach, and that's great because you can just quickly ask questions. Like it'll vibrate on my hand and when I'm over a certain point of stress, and it'll like have a conversation with AI coach. Do you want to do breathing? Do you want to calm down? Or like, are you in the middle of something like that you just need to get through and we'll figure this out later kind of a thing. It's really good. Nice. But what I love about the mix of the two devices is that they sync, and then it's really easy to export your Apple Health data, and it'll track everything down to your like cycle. And it can be like, look, you're actually just crazy today because it's day one, or it might just be whatever the case might be. It'll just be like, no, based on all your previous data, like you didn't go for a walk this morning, you didn't eat right, you had a crap night's sleep. Like, don't be so hard on yourself.
Is that you prompting it though, saying, hey, why am I feeling shit today?
Yeah, like what's going on? I'm not right, and whatever the case might be. And it'll just ping back what's going on based on the data. And it could be right, it could be wrong, but most of the time I find it close to right.
But I get frustrated with the AI response. See, because I'm like, you don't know me.
Well, I've given it all the information it needs to know me. And this might be slightly controversial 100%. Variation of this as well. Yeah, like there's this, and then I have a dual version where I've imported my health data to marry with my mental health data. So like I work with a therapist kind of like once a month. I don't do it overly frequently, but I will take my notes after that and I'll put them into that model, and I can have like a 24/7 conversation then. And then every time I have a new conversation with it, I'll just update it. So you got like, I'll dump in my knowledge base, which is not a huge amount. It's just whatever's in my brain. Like this is, my general life story arc. Here's where I'm at. Here's my goal for the next year. Here's my next goals for the next 5 years. And based on that, what advice do you have? Here's what my therapist generally tends to say. So blending it with the human and AI interface so that I have 24/7 access as well as human person.
The amount of information that you've given that AI is unbelievable. Like it's quite, I don't know whether you're looking scared there.
But you're like,
I'm a little bit scared.
But I'm just thinking Jen is my first cyborg friend. And I'm like,
who cares? Like the other side of this is like, oh no, the AI knows like how much sleep I got last night, or like even the worst part of like, oh no, the AI knows that,
Oh, I get people say that to me about
my parents broke up or something, Oh no, how will this go on? But like, there's nothing in there that another human hasn't experienced somewhere along the way if it was to all come out.
People would say that to me about my Tesco club card. Do you know what I mean? Tesco's knows everything about me because I've had one for 20 years. They know exactly what I buy, what I don't buy, what days I buy on. They have all that information. So it's the same thing, really.
Well, they just aggregated. I actually work with a client who has their product stocked in Tesco, and Tesco released that information to them for their advertising targeting. And super interesting.
It's amazing. Love
it. Yeah. Okay, so let's jump into Teach Me Something New. Judie.
Well, I probably went through now all the apps and stuff like that, but like what I'm really interested in is I suppose custom GPTs. I suppose, Jen, you can call me on this now if it's the wrong way of describing it, but I was at a television and film conference recently, and I came across, I was talking to you about this as well, Jen, Largo.ai. And it's, you go onto their site, you book a demo, and then say you've got a script for a film and you have ideas for cast and you have a budget. You feed it all to this, they take all that data off you, and then they run it through all of their custom GPTs, I guess. But again, that could be the wrong term. And then they will predict how much that film is going to make. And I think like that's very specific now to the film industry, but like that's the kind of stuff, like it's merging all these ingredients into something that's behind the scenes that then you offer your clients that only you know based on all of the information that you have, that other people have given to you or that you found online. That's where I see the real kind of, I suppose, business models in the future with this kind of stuff, not just assisting you, but also creating new kind of business companies in the future.
Yeah. Jay, what about you?
Is that a custom GPT, Jen? Sorry,
no, it's not a custom GPT. It's a custom model. A custom GPT model is when that custom model has been built by you specifically within the OpenAI interface within Chat GPT. But you can technically, create your own custom model and pull OpenAI's information to do something like that, to create a business plan or to estimate the, future. We do that actually sometimes with our growth model. So, the growth model that I shipped us around even for the podcast at the start, which needs updating actually now that I think of it. Like you could just dump that into ChatGPT as well and be like, based on this information to date, what can we forecast for the next 6 months? And, get it to do all of that kind of like business forecasting work as well from a spreadsheet perspective, or just based on what it sees in the market. But it's always going to be very difficult at predicting in comparison to anything else, because again, it's the same as stocks or anything else.
Yeah, but if you're going to the bank for a loan, they say that you want prediction or projections, ship that out and they're like, yes.
Yeah.
Approved. This guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Or entrepreneurs looking for investment as well.
Yeah. My Teach Me was what I touched on it previously, and you said as well, Jen, with the black line over your head. Just in Photoshop beta, if you took a screenshot of you and then highlighted that and did the generative fill, click remove, and then take that frame out into your editing software and just crop down the one that has the black line in it to match the generative fill one. And it just takes out everything. So like, for example, now if I'm here and I take a shot and I don't want that globe there, I would take the screenshot, I would drop it into Photoshop, I'd highlight that globe and I'd say remove, that would be gone. And then I would drop in the image that I want over it, and then I'd crop my head up, like crop the whole image up to like wherever it be, so here. So the edited photograph would have the globe gone, but my head is still here perfectly. So it's super handy for that kind of thing. I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure you can do free trials for Adobe. I think I pay like €12 a month for Lightroom, Photoshop, and other things like the Creative Cloud. I highly recommend Adobe. I've worked with them for years. IFA tag Adobe in this section.
Why am I paying $60 a month for Adobe and I'm only using Premiere Pro?
No, not $60 a month. That's crazy. Yeah. And I think, Jen, you said it to me. I contacted them and said, I only want this. And they were like, oh, how about this, and this? I was like, no, I'll cancel it. I just want this. And they're like, okay, here's a terabyte extra for the same, or like €5 extra for the year.
Or else said, we'll give you 3 months free. We're so sorry.
Yeah. So check out, just play with Photoshop beta if you can for video and photo is my Teach Me.
Nice. Shan, what about you?
Don't really have a Teach Me. However, I did find one that I'm going to be looking at and getting a demo on, which is Jasper.ai. Don't know if
Oh,
you've-
yeah.
I just think,
I was
again,
actually
for
only looking
small
at it this morning.
business, so this is like a creator tool, but also helps to optimize your SEO, etc. Kind of does everything that you would like a marketing manager to do in your small business, but for potentially $39 or $59 a month. I don't know enough about it yet. I don't want to recommend it because I don't, but I've booked a demo and I'm going to be having one this week because it could be a real answer to a lot of people's problems.
Jen, I'll touch on that. Do you know when you're building a website and they're like, keywords, is there an AI tool somewhere that would do that for me, where I don't have to go into every single page and enter in video production, photography, this kind of stuff? Like there has, because that's pretty straightforward, black and white, not 0, not like, or whatever, 1101.
Yeah. You got to strike a balance with your keywords. So Google, once upon a time, people would be like cork, like as in keyword stuffing. And then even to the point where they changed some of the text to white so that it would just, the last paragraph would just be cork. And it would just be like, you couldn't see it. So they're really cautious of keyword stuffing. What's a little bit more important, and I'm actually just riffing off of, the SEO guy on our team, is keyword linking. So like if your keywords are on that landing page, they need to connect to other pages on the website that also have mention of that. And there's a really good WordPress plugin, I think it's called Link Whisper.
Okay.
That allows you to connect all of the dots for that on your site. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, it probably goes back to even prompting it, where like you could drag and drop what's on the page into Chat GPT and say, act as a world-class SEO specialist. The context is, I'm trying to improve the SEO ranking of this page. Here's the 10 things I know that are really important about SEO in 2024, because bear in mind, Chat GPT is always going to be up as far as 2022, and there's been plenty of algorithm changes. You could even attach the most recent SEO algorithm update from Google as like a doc to it. Be like, here's the referencing context material. The direction is to improve anything I can on that page, pay special attention to the keywords. And then the questions is like, if you're missing any context or anything you need to improve this, just ask the questions that you need.
Okay. And that will help my Wix site appear higher in Google's areas.
Excuse me, I just I was actually going to ask.
Wix site, like
I do have to update my Wix website. Like my website has been, it served a purpose. When Jen, when you were talking about like the crap website with all of the text in the middle, I'm like, I'm one step up from that style of website. So I need to do an overhaul, and I have a bit of time at the moment. I'm going to stay on Wix. Is there anything else that you guys know that I should be using to improve it? No, I'm taking all your advice with the SEO linking and stuff like that, and the other advice from other things. But any other top tips for improving a website that maybe is not just Wix?
One of the most important things for anything ranking at the moment, and again, I'm referencing my SEO guy on this, is what's called EEAT. It's an authority score. And essentially what that means is that Google doesn't want artificial intelligence, like AI written content ranking, as much as it would like expert-led content ranking. And when you see an author of a blog and it's like, oh, written by Jen Bryan, ideally what you need to do is look at what's called schema markup, SCHEMA markup. And you are essentially going to tie the user on the back end, so like me in this example, to all of the data points that would make me be categorized as an expert in my space. So let's say, for example, it would be Jen Bryan, master's degree from CIT, lectured in CIT, as seen on This Week in Startups launch, like it would go through all of my credentials. And the deeper your credentials there that are attached to the piece that is written, the more value Google will place on that.
Wow.
I'm going to ask you a question on that, because obviously I run the club for female founders, and the women provide the club website with blogs, and they are all experts in their field. So that would be really strong, wouldn't it, for that?
Yes. It would be absolutely phenomenal for that, because like, say, for example, we work with a company based out of Poland that do data lakes for companies. It's really complex data infrastructure, and I don't understand it. But when they came to us to get the blogs written, this authority score had just kind of come to fruition. So now they have to write the outline. We bulk it up. It's shipped back to the expert. The expert reviews it and puts in any context that we would have missed. And then it's assigned to them as an author, or it might be assigned to the CEO, because typically the CEO will have the deepest credentials.
Okay. Amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. So there's a whole world of SEO that's changed. SEO, like normally Google will do an algorithm update maybe 3 times a year. Last year, I think they rolled out 5, or was it 7? Something insane, trying to keep up with AI changes. So something keep an eye on. I can't remember who we've covered would teach me something new.
Everyone.
Apart from me. I'm going to share my screen and show you something very, very quickly. So this is you can see here, it says Gen only because I have like open ones and closed ones for myself and stuff. So this is what the custom GPTs look like. But let's say here, if I type into this, write me a script for a video about going viral on Instagram. Now, I've given it no real...
Before you do, Jen, if you are listening to this, maybe jump over to YouTube and watch this section.
Oh yeah,
you can see it on screen and stuff.
Yeah, even just to kind of visually explain it, if you haven't jumped over, it's essentially my own custom GPT to write an Instagram script for a video, and I'm just giving it a very kind of vague prompt. I would go deeper into a prompt based on like whatever idea I have, and you can see here that it will, rank this out, and it will give me the 4 key points. Yeah, exactly. So it'll keep doing the cuts and everything else that I need to put in here. And that's largely based off of all of the data that I have put in from my scripts in the past as well. So this Gen only one, you can see here as well, if I write me a video about Google Ads or whatever the case might be, it will keep writing those out for me based on what's there as well. And it will also, like when I ask it to make sure it looks at the hooks, it'll go back and it'll review all of the hooks that I've done in the past and things like that as well. So those like custom script writers, you can dump in any amount of data. I'm only just showing that because I feel like I have done the teach me something new for the custom GPTs a few times before, but it's...
But I'm sorry, like, people have to hear, I have to hear this 7 times before I'm like, pay for Chat GPT 4 and get your custom GPTs together. But like, because every time you say it, I'm like, need to do that. And now today I'm like, all right, I'm actually going to do it. You're like, it's landed. So I'm very excited.
Yeah. It's it's the one thing that anyone can take away from messing around with AI is like, yeah, you can use everyone's data and get lots of great answers, or you can use your own data and get really personalized results based on it. So we'll do a quick fire round to wrap up. Judie, what are your goals around leveraging AI in your business this year?
ChatGPT 4 custom. I'm just going to do that. I know that's going to change my life. I just got completely distracted by other things, but I feel like I'm ready. So yeah, that.
Top tip as well for that is you can only upload a certain amount of documents. However, you can also just create one massive PDF or one massive document from all the documents you want to upload. So don't get restricted by the volume, just collate. Jay, what about you?
Smart. My girl's wicked smart. Just keep an eye on it, see what's working. Like I think sooner or later, like there's this like plugins for Final Cut that that I use editing software, the tracking, the removing stuff in the background. I think that's all going to come in sooner or later. It will just be part of the system where like I literally say remove background, click, and it will automatically do it in my editing software and stuff where I won't have to go to a plugin or get this kind of stuff. So I'm excited for that. Using ChatGPT more, diving, creating more, like Judie said, just learning and just kind of being aware of it and understanding the pitfalls and the yays and nays of it all. And actually the fitness and diet thing might be a thing as well, because I'm looking to go do limbo as well, maybe.
Yeah. We have to pencil in like a working session someday and we'll get everyone set up. Class. Shan, what about you?
Yeah, definitely. I need to upgrade my Chat GPT, and I have paid for captions, so I'm going to really start using them. I think for me, it's like actually putting a little bit of time, even if it's an hour aside once a week, to play with these tools. because I don't want to be left behind. I never have been. I'm determined not to be at this point. So yeah, I think it's just understanding the investment that you have to give it for it to give you back what you need.
Shan, I think you would be huge in Japan. So what you do is captions, do Japanese, your voice, do the animations, all this kind of stuff, and your glasses. I think rock star. Superstar in Japan.
Big in Japan. That's a song from the 90s. I was about to start singing it then, and I was really going to show my age. But yeah, we can't fall behind. I might be big in Japan. I might be off to Japan.
Yeah. Well, this is what the likes of Mr. Beast did, where he created Mr. Beast huge in America, and then he just created Mr. Beast Brazil, Mr. Beast Spain, Mr. Beast China, and it just literally dubbed all the videos. So it's definitely something to look at. If why not?
More of his video views come from non-English than English.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And he did something really good, which is he used well-known voices in other countries. So for example, for his Mexican channel, he actually uses the voiceover of the same guy who does the voiceover for Spider-Man in Spanish. So it's a voice people know, and they're like, is that Spider-Man? It's he has a bit of fun with it.
He'll definitely be the first YouTube billionaire, 100%. He's classic.
Oh, for sure. The other thing as well is that I would expect that if these tools are already available to create the content, it won't be long before the channels just have it naturally embedded within them. Eventually, you will just go to an originally Spanish piece of content on YouTube, and you will just hear and see it in English. There will just be no disruption to that.
Because it will show you where you are. But even the likes of now with YouTube, I know we're wrapping up, sorry, the machine learning of the, when they're playing with it at the moment, but if you upload a YouTube video, it's going to give you're going to upload 4 thumbnails, and it's going to see and test on the market which one is reacting best, and then it's going to push that one then, and it's class. It's going to be really cool.
There's a really good Chrome extension. I can't remember the name of it, but I'm sure if you go looking for it, you'll come across it. But it's a thumbnail tracker, so you can go to Mr. Beast's video when he launches it, and you can visually see how many times the thumbnail was changed and at what. So after 11 hours of the video being released, the thumbnail was changed to this, and the mouse is slightly. You'll see all the visual changes that were made to kind of improve.
Nice, I'll check it out. Thumbnail tracker.
It's crazy, yeah.
Class.
I'm fully convinced that there's not really that much need for my skill set. Or if I was to assume based on my thinking that people will just pick up all of these tools and start using them straight away, my gut would be I think marketers have 2 or 3 years left. The reality is that people are so slow to uptick these and actually start using these tools that I probably think that's probably closer to maybe 5 to 7 years. So I'm backtracking into that with the directory systems, how to actually leverage it, looking at it from, if I was the marketer who was in charge of all of these AI tools, what would that job spec look like? There's going to be a human who is going to look after all of these AI tools instead of teams is eventually how this is going to look. So especially over the next few months, you'll start to see the stuff that I'm putting out, the new website with the directory and all of that is with that kind of in mind, and the training behind that.
Nice.
I think what you said last week, Jen, is the people that learn this to teach this will be the people that will survive. I think it's probably a little bit longer, because when you talk about those styles of websites that we were talking about earlier, etc., I'm still working with people that are in that area. And still bringing people through, and holding their hand because they're scared of social media, or they're scared of email marketing, or those are the kind of people that I work with an awful lot of the time. Not all the time, but 20% of my business is that. So for people that understand this and can bring those people through, they will have huge longevity.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think just to finish off this episode, don't be like anything we said last week, the tech, don't be afraid to play.
No.
Download Chat GPT app on your phone, do the free version, play with it over your lunchtime, ask it questions, check out Jane's Instagram page. It's a treasure trove of prompts and just ideas and stuff for Chat GPT. I think, just have fun with it.
And don't worry if you don't know who Mr. Whatever his name is that they were talking about for 10 minutes, because I haven't got a bloody clue.
Shan, you'll actually get addicted. His content is a lot of fun. If you just search for Mr. Beast and watch any one of them,
he's just Mr. Beast. He's literally just doing social experiments. So like,
he hides 10 grand in a mall and makes people go around the mall looking for it and stuff like that. Like it's fun content.
Oh, I do that all the time with a fiver.
One guy
I don't ask people to look for it. Do you have a money drop, guys? It's good for you. It's good for your conscience. It's good to let go of money. So sometimes I just money drop, and you put them in like places where people will just find it, but you're not allowed to see anybody find it. It's really good for the soul.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll ask my custom GPT to see what it thinks about that for my next month's financial management.
Talk to your therapist as well about that.
That is so funny. Really, guys, thanks so much, everyone, for listening. As always, give us a subscribe, like us, all of that good stuff. Check us out on socials. And of course, if you have any questions at all, you can feel free to reach out to any one of us individually or the Instagram channel as well. And we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.